Good afternoon. I'm Celeste Granillo. Thank you so much for joining us once again for another installment of Breakthrough News. Today is Wednesday, March the 28th, 2018. And I'm happy to announce that we have Daniel once again.
Again.
He's back.
Ed McMahon style.
A brief hiatus, but
yes.
Happy you're back. And I'm very happy to introduce our very first guest here at Breakthrough News. And we are with Gabe Arteaga today. And he is involved with a couple of amazing projects, but one of which his company is called Infused American. And he's going to start working with an app and with a company called Objective Zero. And it is all about PTSD awareness and creating resources for veterans instead of having to rely on the very, very, very slow VA. We're being kind.
Yeah.
Very kind.
It's a family show.
Exactly, but I think it's wonderful what you guys are doing. I think that the private sector needs to jump in because we've let government do it for a decade now, and they haven't been helpful at all. So I commend the work that you're doing and what I know you're going to keep doing, Yeah. So we're happy to have Gabe here today. He did 2 tours, right? One in Iraq and one in Afghanistan. And he served for 11 years as well. So he wants to go back. And I think 11 years, he's done enough. You've gone out for all of us here.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Your basic was at Fort Benning, correct?
Yes.
Correct. And what did you do? What was, as they say, your MOS?
Well, my first MOS was when I was active duty. I was 11 Bravo, which is infantry. So pretty much that's all the cool Army stuff, kicking doors down, pretty much all the grunt work. I did that for 3 years, and then I got out for a couple years. When I came back to the National Guard, that was the remainder of my military time. I came in as a supply, so it was 92 Yankee. That's what it was at the time. I'm not sure if I think they changed it now.
Okay.
Every so often, the job numeration, it changes. So.
Okay.
There's no 71 Lima anymore.
Oh, really?
Never existed.
What was it?
So Dad's probably doesn't exist anymore either. Okay.
Or they fuse them with the other ones.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Wow, okay. And then you were in Iraq in 2004, correct?
Yes.
So you were in there during the nitty-gritty where everything kind of just went crazy and bad all at once. So Gabe told me a little bit of his story before we started recording, and he was in that infamous area called the Sunni Triangle. So I believe in God because you are home, but that was a very, well, you would know, you were there. To say it was dangerous, I think, is an understatement. But what was, besides like leaving your family and being far away from home, that's probably like the furthest you ever were from home. What other, you go there and you're with everybody and then you come home. What is the difficult part about transitioning from military to civilian life? Besides the VA.
Honestly, I didn't even go to the VA up until 2 years after I came back. Actually, no, a year after I came back. I got back in 2005, and I didn't even go to the VA till almost 2007. So it was right around the end of 2006. But I think the hardest part is pretty much just trying to figure out what's next.
Okay, that makes sense.
And I think a lot of veterans that come back, they come home to the same thing. What's next? When I went in, I was 19. I just graduated high school 6 months prior, and I went to basic. Then I went to my first duty station, which was South Korea. Was there for a year, and then from there I went to Iraq, was there for 13 months, and when I came back, pretty much I was at Fort Carson, Colorado, Colorado Springs, was there for about 8 months right before I ended that contract.
Okay.
And I pretty much I stayed out in Denver with a buddy of mine, and I was kind of just trying to find out what my next step was going to be.
Right.
Also, I was recently married at the time when I came back. With my wife was also pregnant.
Wow.
So we were also expecting our first child. So a lot of the
Responsibilities,
questions, a lot of
too.
responsibility, a lot of
Yeah.
questions were coming at me too fast to where I wasn't sure what was going to happen or
Yeah.
where to go. I did get into security. I was with Eagle Knight Security, which is a small company out there.
Okay.
Pretty much all we did out there was just club securities and event security.
Okay.
And I was out there for, again, about 8 months. After that, I came back, and I had a hard time just trying to get back into trying to figure out where to find work at and what to do.
Right.
Well, did people ask you questions about the war? Did people ask you silly things about the war?
Inappropriate things.
Yeah, or even anything inappropriate, do you have to face issues like that, or have you?
Honestly,
Because I know civilians can ask a lot of dumb questions.
honestly, I didn't really get too much of that. Not even with my family. I didn't really get any questions, to be
Okay.
honest.
Is that good or bad
Uh,
from your perspective? Like, do you want to talk about it? You don't want to talk about it? Is it?
From my perspective, it was kind of disappointing because being gone for so long, you kind of expect people like, hey, where you at?
Yeah.
How you been? What's going on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You would think that when you came back, people would try to reconnect with you.
Right.
But time just passes
Yeah, but
by.
in my case, everybody was just doing their thing. So even my friends from high school, they were off doing, they were at work or whatever.
Right.
So I come back here, my family's doing their thing, and I'm kind of pretty much just trying to find out where am I going to put my foot next.
Right.
Yeah.
Trying to pretty much get my own rhythm going.
Yeah.
So.
And that's got to be hard too. Like, I'm sure your days were a bit regimented in the military, right? Like, you have to get up at this time, you eat at this time.
Yeah.
Well, and then all of a sudden it's your thing.
Yeah.
That's got to be an adjustment.
Yeah. So pretty much, I was always up early. Even now, I'm either up early or I just don't go to sleep.
Really?
I'm constantly pretty much awake for the majority of the day. I probably get maybe about 4 or 5 hours of sleep.
Yeah. I can attest to that because we'll mess each other out of nowhere, middle of the night. Even if you're not at work, you're like, yeah, I'm up.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's one of the things that it's still with me to this day. Just not being able to sleep comfortably, and I don't know if it's just because I'm used to it or just probably because I got too many things running through my head. I don't know.
Possibly, yeah.
Possibly,
Yeah. Wow. Do you want to go into telling us a little bit about Objective Zero? One of the people in your unit, right? He's the one who helped start it, get it going.
Yeah.
And so, do you want to just tell us a little bit about that?
Honestly, I don't really know too much yet. I know my buddy, his name is Justin Miller. He lives out in Virginia, and the way he started it was pretty much just like every other veteran going to the VA with just too long of a process. So he decided to try to figure out how he can try to cope, maybe by connecting with other veterans.
That's good.
Or getting resources a lot quicker.
Yeah.
And when he came up with this app, he figured out everybody's always on their cell phone, so it'd be a lot easier for just to push click it on the phone, get the app,
Right.
download it, and you're instantly connected to other veterans
Network. Yeah.
that are pretty much using it to network, that are either in your local area, or you can hit up buddies that you're.
And they might know somebody.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And that application, like I said, it's got a lot of links that are resourceful. It'll have links to the VA and stuff like that.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
That's awesome.
So you don't have to feel alone. That's really what the takeaway, right? Like you're not alone on this.
Yeah,
like
pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like I said, a lot of the veterans, for myself, when I came back, I didn't know who to talk to. You
Right.
know? Like I said, the family wasn't really asking questions. It's not like I wanted them to either. So,
Right.
I kind of just pretty much felt alone. So I know that app is going to help a lot of veterans that are coming back now, especially now that it's already launched and it's an ongoing thing. It's going to allow them to link up with local veterans in their area, get the support that they need,
Right.
and the resources that they need. Whether it's suicide, if they think about suicide, they could talk to somebody, or if they're just trying to find the direction to go if they need to file a claim, stuff like that.
That's good.
That's amazing.
Kind of a built-in barracks lawyer in that thing.
Yeah, pretty much.
I always say the private sector does it better, and I think this is probably proof of some of that. I heard something a while back. I heard like a lot of World War II veterans, there wasn't as many high cases of suicide and depression because there could be a whole street full of guys that came back together.
Yeah.
So, maybe some guy 2 doors down, he was there too. You might have been in Europe, but he was in Iwo Jima, but they can connect and they would sit on the front porch and talk about their experience and they had each other.
True.
Whereas nowadays, you could have somebody from one city and then like it could be 5 counties other before there's another veteran, so you guys are spread out. So why not use the World Wide Web to connect you guys? I think that's an incredible idea. I can't believe no one else has thought of it sooner. Like that's great that he's thought of that.
It's very forward thinking. I know people are going to watch this. Maybe most of them are civilian, right? So they go, well, I don't get it. Like, you weren't alone. How do you feel alone? You have your family there. You have a wife. Was that offensive to her that you felt alone? I'm right here. Like, people don't get it until they hear it. Like, you don't get it, civilian. Like, our brains were different. Our mentality was different. Our objective in life was different. And then to come here and you guys are wondering about Kardashians. You guys are wondering about who won the finals to blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Or, like, you got stuck in traffic, spilled your bran muffin. Like, none of that matters. Like, I tell some people that you and I both know, like, they go, well, I don't know. Like, he just kind of, like, he's a great guy, but he's just kind of, like, quiet and just his answers are very basic and they're comforting. They're just kind of like, hey, don't worry about it, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, because he's been in the worst. Nothing really is that big a deal after that.
Yeah,
and they're just like, oh, it dawns on him.
Yeah.
So for any veteran that comes back and adjusts and gets their life in order and takes that footstep forward and all that, it's an awesome thing because you were so, and I'm going to say programmed, but not in a negative way. Because you have to. That's what makes you a unit. So it makes everybody safe. It's everybody accountable. And that's the thing that, please, when you pray for your veterans, pray when they come home. When you think of your veterans, think about the big picture for them when they come home. If you know someone who's hiring, say, hey, I know someone just came home and needs a job. Please
look out for each other.
Exactly. Yeah, take care of one another.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this is part 1, so we're going to continue this conversation, but I want to thank everybody for tuning in, and we're going to go with another segment, so I hope you check that one out. So thank you so much, and thanks for tuning in. You guys have a great day.
Thanks.